Has anybody here seen the movie The Green Book? Pretty good, huh? You'll notice or remember early in the movie, it's a story about a black artist, fantastic pianist, but he was going to travel through the South and do concerts, but he couldn't be in concert halls because he was black. He wasn't accepted. And so he needed a white man to travel with him through the South, because if he with another black man went through, he might not get home alive. So he gets this Italian-American who doesn't care for blacks, obviously, but he needed the money, needed the job. Early on in the movie, when they're making the arrangements, he comes to the house of the white man, and this guy, his wife, gives the black man a glass of water to drink out of. And she puts it down on the sink afterwards, and here he is looking at it, he sees that the black man touched his glass. So he goes over to take the glass and goes like this to the trash can. Boom. Here's the implication. Drink from the same glass a black man drank out of? I don't think so. That's the Samaritan woman. The Jews and the Samaritans didn't talk to each other. And women did not speak in public. For a woman to be in public and talk to another man was outlandish. In the Latino community, especially in little towns, that's absolutely true. Is it true in the Filipino community? Would it be brazen for a woman to speak to a man in public in the Philippines? Help me? Help? No? Okay. Anglos, we don't care. But here Jesus is speaking with the Samaritan woman. And the best part is at the end of the story, he goes to stay with the Samaritans in their homes for 2 days. He drinks from their same glasses. Becomes a part of them. But what happens in between, from the first moment he speaks to her and he goes to stay in their homes for 2 days? No Jew would do that. He speaks about faith. He speaks about God being spirit and truth. And he speaks about this food. Food isn't physical food in his language, it's doing God's work. He speaks about drink. Drink isn't water. He talks about the water, drinking this water of life. He's talking about something spiritual. Now, connected to the first reading, we have Moses who comes to the mountain. He experiences God in the burning bush. For all those who ever saw the Ten Commandments, you maybe watch it during Lent, it's just a nice visual thing of this bush that's on fire, but it doesn't burn up. And he understands this to be the presence of God. And he speaks to God, and God speaks to Moses. And God identifies God's self. And I say God's self because he doesn't identify as a him or a her or a it or a they or a this or a that. He just says, I am who am. I am who am. What's that mean? I just am. I am. He is this, but God is this, not he. God, he, she, it, what is this energy, this life? Everything in the universe is in God. God is in the universe everywhere. God is everything, and everything is in God. My most fruitful reflection came about 1.5 years ago. It's the opening talk of my retreat, which you're all invited to April 13th. But this opening talk is based on the article I read in the LA Times that we shot off a rocket now about 10 years ago, and it took 9.5 years to go from the Earth, flying at 8 miles per second. Per second. Took 9.5 years to fly from the Earth to Pluto to take pictures. And I read the article because just that week it arrived after 9.5 years flying 8 miles a second. Now that's just a portion of our galaxy, not even the whole diameter of our galaxy. And they say there's well over 1 million galaxies. Whoa! God is, in a word, big, enormous. So I know Jesus speaks of God our Father, my Father, and it's useful language because it personalizes it and gives us this very direct kind of relationship. But God is everything. So Jesus nails it today in this scripture. He says God is spirit, truth. God just is. And when we get to that understanding, this is where we can begin to realize how little we are and yet how loved we are. I don't know about you, but I know that they haven't found any life anywhere else in the universe that I'm aware of, or anything that's kind of similar to ours. So we got this whole huge universe to ourselves? My God, it's enormous, enormous. In this scripture today, something happens between Jesus and this woman. Talk about a moment of truth. And she owns up to everything. He starts talking to her and he says, "Could you give me a drink?" And right away she says, "I'm black." Well, in her day, "I'm Samaritan and I'm a woman. What are you asking me? You usually wouldn't even drink from the same utensil that I give you." But he says, "Well, if you knew who you were talking to, you'd come to me for life-giving water." And she says, "Oh, wait a minute. You don't even have a bucket. How are you going to give me life-giving water?" And he says, "The water I give," and this is where he begins to reveal this truth, it's not physical water you drink, it's an inner water. He says it'll spring up inside you, it'll give you life from the inside. Now, these young people are going to make their first scrutiny today. On the first Sunday of Lent, they went up and signed the book. They said in the book of elect, "Okay, this is it. I'm signing on the dotted line. God, I think you're calling me, and I'm going to say yes." So we said, "Okay, good." And Easter Vigil will be baptized. But we're going to put you through three scrutinies. And this is the best I can say a scrutiny. If you said, "Father Perry, that's the most beautiful purple garment I've ever seen," I say, "Yes, it's pretty lovely, except it's ruined. I'm going to throw it away." "Why?" And I go, "Look, let me get the magnifying glass out. See that little tiny mark? It's ruined. I got to throw it away. I've scrutinized. I've checked it all out. See?" So the first scrutiny is this. In the light of these scriptures, spirit and truth, if you were to stand before God of the universe right now and say, "God, I know you're going to give me this new inner life in baptism, and all these people are going to celebrate with me and share their life with me, and I get to share their life. I know you've loved me all my life up until I've been 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever age I am right now. I know you love me. I know I don't have to be baptized to have your love, but I'm going to get to join your people, this people of God, these Roman Catholics, share their faith, be a brother and sister to them. But before I do, I want to scrutinize my life in front of you and in front of this community and say, I know I'm a sinner. I know I'm not perfect. I could give you the list. I'm selfish, I lie, I'm sneaky, I don't always tell the truth, sometimes I'm mean, sometimes I'm selfish, whatever the list. And by the way, it ain't your list, it's our list. We all do this stuff. But I want to come clean, God, like this Samaritan woman. Bring your husband. She says, well, I'm not married. He says, yeah, you're telling me. You haven't had one husband, you've had 5, and this one isn't your husband. So she comes clean, and she says, whoa, this man knows everything about me. He must be the prophet. He must be the one. And she comes to believe. She tells her people they come to believe, and then they invite him to come and join them for 2 days, and everybody comes to life with more faith because of their encounter with Jesus Christ. So, here we are, and Jesus Christ is inviting you, our elect, to admit the truth. I'm a sinner. Sometimes I'm not the best person I could be, and I want to acknowledge it. I want to notice that. I want to say it out loud because I want to say, Lord, help me clean this up. Help me remove some of this stuff. If by scrutinizing and looking at it carefully, I can take away a couple things before I get baptized, that would be fantastic, that I can be even more open and get rid of some of this stuff so some of your stuff can come into my life. So, we're going to do this scrutiny. Now, the beautiful thing for us, and why I'm happy to do this at the 9:30 Mass, is because I'm not sure if we've done it at this Mass before, or not for a while anyway. And actually, you know, we're supposed to be models and examples to them, but today they're being a model and example to us. As they scrutinize their lives, we should be saying, hey, isn't that what Lent is about? Isn't that what I'm supposed to do every day of my life? In fact, it's the way we always start the Mass. After we mark ourselves in the name of Father, Son, and Spirit, I say, the Lord be with you, and you say, and with your spirit, and I say, okay, we're sinners, let's pause and notice our sinfulness and God's mercy. That's where we start. I'm not perfect, God. I want your life more and more in me.